Hello, dear listeners. You're listening to the GamePitch Podcast, a weekly chat between two pals that is all about video games and the game industry.
Every week, we'll bring you the latest gaming news, hand out industry red cards, and pitch an all-new game idea.
The GamePitch Podcast drops Monday mornings on the Project Nerd Podcast Network.
It's the perfect antidote to your end-of-the-weekend blues.
I'm JD.
And I'm Eli. Let's get to the show.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the GamePitch Podcast. I'm JD, here with my co-host Eli. Eli, you want to say hey to everyone?
Well, hello, listeners, and hello to you, my number one Game Boy, J to the D. Let's advance our friendship with more potting.
I missed potting. It was a busy week. I look forward to this every weekend, not only because then we get to share a good hour of just talking about games, talking about the game industry, but gosh, it's just such a great way to ease out of the week and into the weekend. Don't you agree?
I agree, and games are important to me. There's a lot of gaming in my life this week.
That's good. We have a lot to talk about, right? So this week, as every week, we have a packed show. There was a new episode of Inside Xbox. We're going to break down the details. And kind of the antithesis to that, we're going to talk about PlayStation 5, the new controller that Sony revealed this week. IGN had their Twitter polls that they've been running, and they crowned the best character in games. So we're going to talk about that and probably disagree. And finally, I think I'm excited. You have been hyping up all week your game that you are pitching this week. And it sounds like it's going to be a bit different than our normal ones where it's sort of an off the cuff. Yeah, we've given it 30 minutes of thought, but that's more or less it. You have been texting me about this almost every day, not saying what it is, but just saying, I can't wait for you to hear this. I can't wait for you to hear this.
I think it's going to be a real game, kind of like you like to tell a story about it. So it kind of came to me as I was driving. Basically, I'm just really excited for this game idea, but I've actually been playing something that I didn't think I was going to be playing. I did not think I'd be playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that's what I've been doing this week.
We did do a little bit of shit talking on that for the last couple episodes. So how's it been? I mean, does it relive your 20-year ago PlayStation 1 little kid on this console dream? How is it for you?
Well, one, I'm a Nintendo fanboy, so I despise everything Sony, and I can't believe that No, I'm just kidding. No, but so back in the day, the reason I didn't get a PlayStation is because I thought it was dumb because it only had 2 controller ports when my 64 had 4, and that was like like my original reason why I never got a PlayStation. I had always played them at friends' houses. I've seen and watched more of my friends play Final Fantasy VII than like I have played probably any other RPG. Like that's one of the things. Like just friend playing through Final Fantasy VII in the background. So I've always been familiar with the story. I know all the beats. I've seen every boss, every part of the game. But like my physical self, I had never like played A to B and beat the game. But I've seen everything the game has to offer hundreds of times. So for me, it's kind of a bittersweet. It's surreal. I don't have the same nostalgic connection to it as everyone else does. I'm more of a fan when Final Fantasy is fantasy. So like castles and dragons and demons and stuff, like villages rather than cities and modern. So I think that's one thing, because like my favorite Final Fantasies are 4 and 6, but this game, I mean, it's really good. Everyone loves it, and I'm probably like 10 hours into it, maybe.
Oh wow, okay, so decent chunk of time to start to form an early opinion of it. That's good. That's awesome. Let's see. This week I am playing the Animal Crossing stock market, and I'm losing. Eli, I can't even tell you. Look, I use video games as an escape for the real world, and there's nothing good about this where in Animal Crossing now I'm losing all my money on the stock market, and then I open the news and everyone's losing all their money in the IRL stock market. And this was supposed to be a fun fantasy. I'm supposed to be on an island adventure and loving life and making friends, and instead I'm stressing out and screaming at Timmy and Tommy and just wondering why that they're dooming me to this life of mediocrity and just absolute debt. I can't seem to escape it. I've seen a lot of tools out there for getting your turnips sold at islands that have higher prices, and I've resisted. I figured if I can go to a friend's island, or hopefully my island will have enough, then I don't have to use these tools that are online and go to random strangers' islands. But hey, it's Saturday morning. The desperation is certainly starting to set in. And so after we record this pod, it's very real that I'm going to go pay someone way too much money in quote unquote tips to go sell turnips on their island just to save myself. I'm not happy about it, but it is going to happen.
the good news for you, my friend, is that you have a stonks expert here. I am, as you know, willing to time travel, so I will spoof my day until you have the turnip prices you require, sir, and I will charge you nothing. So,
Oh,
much like
oh.
someone who's trying to stop doing drugs, here I am just feeding you the bad.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going through withdrawals. I'm trying to turn my life around, and yet I turn around after you leave the room and there's a little baggie sitting there, and I can't resist. And it just sucks me right back in. And tomorrow morning I'm gonna be hunting for Daisy May on my island, begging her to take my sweet, sweet bells so I can have another garden full of turnips. I can't help myself, Eli.
You will. I believe in you, JD. You can get out of this. You can.
Oh, all right. Well, on to the fastballs. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the news.
Well, you start out your life. We're going to talk about some quick news stories that happened in gaming this week. We did something new. We did a draft basically, and I guess our plan is to do these live on either Twitter or Instagram before we
Yeah,
record the show. So look out for those. But some cool things. We have a YouTube now. We have an Instagram now. We're on more platforms. You can see more things, but
we're diversifying.
yeah, but now we actually have a draft order. So we actually picked our news stories and some got left behind. So you can find that on our YouTube channel and see kind of what happened there with the draft. But you have the first pick, JD, and you selected a story that you want to talk about. Go ahead.
The thought that this was the absolute first story that I picked out of all the things we're going to talk about today, and this was the one that my weird brain gravitated to. I don't know what to say. So Overwatch League, competitive Overwatch, right? I feel like any gamer at this point, even if they don't play Overwatch, knows it. The league fined players $1,000 each for typing quote unquote sex big dick into the chat this last week. Uh which just makes my 14-year-old brain just giddy, and I can't help but laugh, right?
Yeah.
It's so stupid. It's so dumb that these professionals are doing this. And yes, I agree with the fines, right? Come on, there's younger kids that watch, there's guidelines and standards that are set in place. But also, if it's me, if I'm a professional Overwatch League player and the opportunity to just type big dick into the chat is there, and hundreds of thousands of people will see it, yeah, I'm taking that. I'm doing that all day.
Well, it's funny because it's like gamers have entered the chat kind of thing because ESPN had broadcast Overwatch League before and League of Legends and stuff like that, and so we're trying to get to a place where they take esports seriously, and this is one of those things where I'm just like, I'm glad we will never lose who we truly are at our core, which is
Absolutely.
typing. Like the story with these guys, it's hilarious because one guy just typed sex, a different player on an opposing team typed big dick, and then they didn't realize that everyone could see chat, and then some other guy on the team was like, bro, chat's public, and they're like, oh well, lol, just whoops. And then he had to do a public apology, they had to apologize on their
A press conference.
I just wasn't in the right headspace when I said big dick. It's just I was just trying to get in the zone, get that energy right, and unfortunately,
I took it too far.
I got to apologize for my team, my
Coach, my manager.
This is not what. Who are they sponsored by? Maybe it's this is not what Red Bull saw in me. I was supposed to have wings, and I clipped them myself.
Exactly. I want to apologize to everybody at G Fuel. I know that these aren't the morals that you guys uphold. And then you go to the G Fuel Twitter and it's just memes.
Yeah. You don't G Fuel yourself with profanity. You do it with hard work. Yeah. All right. So that's great. I with the second pick in our Fastballs draft, I actually took a story about Fable 4. So this is a rumor.
Oh,
And there's basically some hot news tipsters on Twitter that basically said we're going to have some game reveals coming very soon for Xbox One Series X, some of the exclusives, and they said to count on big sci-fi, to count on fantasy worlds, and some reboots as well. The most credible thing within all of this is that other people have jumped on or kind of helped confirm is that Fable 4 is not it might happen, it's a when will it happen type of thing, and they think we're going to get the reveal very soon.
The other half of this, right, is that people think that Playground Games, which is one of Microsoft's first-party studios, is the one developing this. And so kind of a interesting, anecdote to this is I have a LinkedIn because of course I do, right? And I follow Playground Games on LinkedIn just because one of the recruiters and I connected with each other, and I just follow the account. And over the last 6 to 8 months, they have been hiring a ton of environment artists, world artists, like, engineers, like for games that you're like, oh, like what could they possibly be building over at Playground, right? Like
Mhm.
that they need these for. And so now I saw this story and I'm like, oh, interesting. Like, what if they have been just like bolstering their ranks to get ready to redo Fable for the Series X? And let's, one step further is, would you be excited for this?
Yeah, man. Like Fable 2 is so good. Like
It's
it's
so
so
good. Okay.
ridiculous. Yeah, Fable 2 is great. Yeah, I don't I can't imagine the thinking behind keeping Fable dormant for so long. They have Gears, Halo, and Fable. Those are the things that you should
Yeah.
be constantly making a game always the whole time.
Yeah, I love Fable. I grew up with all the Fables and have always enjoyed them. And apart from the game, the one thing I will miss is Peter Molyneux.
Mm.
And obviously this is a little satirical and a little interpretation of what really happened, right? But every time Peter Molyneux would introduce the next Fable, he would almost always shit on the previous Fable because the press would always just say like, oh, it was good, but it didn't live up to these promises that Peter made on behalf of his team, right? So
Mm.
like you would have like Fable 1 came out and everyone's like, yeah, this is good, but it's not what we were promised, right? And so then Peter Molyneux would be like, Fable 1 was absolute horseshit, but Fable 2 will be the greatest Fable of all time. And then Fable 2 would come out and it was like, it was good, right? But like it wasn't, he was like, everything you do will change the world. And that obviously didn't happen. So then Fable 3 comes around. He's like, I had nothing to do with Fable 2, but Fable 3 will be my greatest invention ever. And then like Fable 3 came out and everyone's like, yeah, it's all right. And then he's like, I had nothing to do with any of the Fable games. I renounce myself, Peter Molyneux.
I want you to
So,
know. I think actually, I think we should pivot and be Peter Molyneux pitch, and we should just read every story in Peter Molyneux's voice that you just did there. Because man, thank you. That was soothing, and I feel good about the future of Xbox.
I do too. I'm excited if Fable 4 is in fact going to come out. Not that I wasn't already sort of planning on getting a Series X, and that's we'll see because I have my gaming PC, and if it comes on both, I'll probably just get on my gaming PC. But if it doesn't and it's on Series X, I'll probably pick one up because I really do love Fable.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say last little bit on that on Fable. You might actually might be seeing a trailer for it by the time that this is up, showing first video,
On
first
Monday.
trailer this Monday. Yeah, so yeah, this is
Yeah,
a cool thing, and then that means we're caught up. You guys are hearing these things like a day after we record them.
you can listen to this podcast and my awful Peter Molyneux impression, and then you can go search for hopefully a Fable 4 trailer of some sort. You guys, we do this for you, obviously. So what I was saying is I love Fable, and I also love Grand Theft Auto. I have
Mm.
put a lot of time into Grand Theft Auto, and some fans out there think that Grand Theft Auto 6 may have been accidentally leaked. Rockstar's Instagram story this week had some photos that obviously the internet does what the internet does, and they're picking it apart and trying to find clues for what they think will be Grand Theft Auto 6. They think it's going to be back in Vice City, which I would love that because I thought Vice City was amazing.
Mm.
I'm kind of done with the fictional New York, I think, for now. I'm kind of done with California. I would love to go back over into Vice City times. I'd love to be back in that pink and blue neon
Mm.
life, right? That sort of I love it. I really do.
Grand Theft Auto 6 is another thing, it's not a if it'll happen, it's a when it'll happen. We know this is a thing that's
It
going to
will.
happen. Yeah, we just don't know what console, what the details will be. But yes, please be Vice City. I want it.
I would love a Vice City. So just a quick little bit on Grand Theft Auto. What do you got next? What was your next pick in the draft?
We need to go to Kickstarter and you need to back this project. It's called Sea of Stars. If you haven't seen it, it's amazing. It's from the team that made The Messenger. I believe it's Sabotage Studios. And this thing, it's so great because The Messenger was kind of a side scrolling adventure game, kind of more Ninja Gaiden-y, but Dead Cells like as well. But The Messenger is a quality game and these guys have the chops. But Chrono Trigger, and this is what I love when a developer just pivots
Mm-hmm.
from a game style, and they are making a Chrono Trigger styled RPG, but it's set in the same universe as The Messenger. It looks beautiful. It's themed around your two characters. You're a sun character and a moon character. There's all these amazing lighting effects for a
Oh,
2D RPG. Like, it looks beautiful, and this is something that I think everyone needs to back. Like, I just want to. I put it in the list here for the news because I wanted to let people know about Sea of Stars. It looks beautiful. The lighting's amazing. It's the type of RPG that I want. But the craziest thing is that they actually got the attention of Chrono Trigger's original composer, Masuda,
Ooh,
and he like after seeing the game, like they like put up and they're like backing it, and then he's now going to be a composer on the game too. So like the idea
wow.
that you could put something on Kickstarter and then the actual original person who made the game that inspired your game is like, yeah, let me jump on there and do some tracks. Like that's the dopest thing.
That is pretty sick.
So Sea of Stars, go back it. That's all.
All right, I like it. It's on Kickstarter, Sea of Stars. Check it out. That sounds amazing. I haven't seen that, so I'm gonna have to go look. Thanks for
It's
bringing
so
that up this week.
sexy.
Sounds so cool. Something that's not as cool. My next pick in the draft. So this week, Phil Spencer was talking to IGN and said that there's a real possibility that Series X consoles may be scarce and there may be delays. That we've talked about delays on PlayStation 4, right, with Last of Us and some other stuff, before the next gen has even started. I think Phil Spencer is trying to put some expectations in place that, hey, it might be hard to get this console. And hey, the stuff that we have shown or that we might be showing soon might get delayed slightly. And so I think this is ultimately, while it's bad news, I have to say, like, mad props to Phil for saying this now, right? Because
Mhm.
it would be all too much easier to not say anything, and then people would be going nuts once the console launch was happening. He can lay that expectation now, knowing that it might actually hurt the sales up front potentially, just because he's like, hey, these games might not come. And then there's someone like me who might have bought one at launch who's going to wait now, right? And so I can definitely appreciate that. Looking at it from the business acumen side of things, he is being really upfront and honest, and I appreciate that a ton. So
That's one of the things Microsoft's done a really good job of lately, just being really transparent. And I don't know if
yeah,
that's a product of what they always wanted their, public persona to be, or because they have to catch up to Sony that they are just really trying to be the console for the gamers.
yeah, I agree. I think they've done a really good job lately of giving everyone that peek behind the curtain, letting them know kind of what their thought process was for how they're approaching buying studios and how they're
Mm.
approaching manufacturing and how they're approaching development, right? And I like all of that. I think it's a really, really smart way to do business. So yeah.
I think a not smart way to do business is to overprice the Mario Levi's overalls. So this whole collection is overpriced. Now, initially, I had praised this collection because when they showed the preview, it was like the overalls, showed the coins, had the Super Mario logo on the back, and I was like, oh man, those overalls, those are going to be amazing. I want those. But they're so plain and basic, JD. My heart
Yeah.
hurts. Have you seen, like, there's just nothing on them. It's the coins on the butt.
Yeah, coins on the butt does not warrant a like 500% price increase from what regular overalls would cost.
Yeah, if you
Like,
wanted like $80, I might have been like $80 for these. Okay, fine.
it's a lot, but you would have bought them.
Yeah, but $148 for the Super Mario overalls, and then everything else in the collection just being wicked overpriced. Like, I just Levi's,
Well,
why? I
so
want
look,
these.
I know that you're not happy about the pricing, but let's just lay the cards on the table. You still gonna buy them?
Not in these Corona times.
There's a pretty long pause there, so
Yeah, yeah. We'll see.
as you guys know, we hold a lot of sway with this podcast. We
Mhm.
have a lot of power in influencing popular opinion. We talked a lot about mechs last week,
Mhm.
and lo and behold, there's mechs coming to No Man's Sky now. They announced this week that they're going to bring some into the game, and I mean, look, I don't want to say that we caused this, but we did cause this. So everyone that's excited about this, you're welcome. Everyone that wants us to do something else, tweet at us, email us, let us know what we can influence in the game industry for you, because we're here for you guys.
You're saying we didn't cause it, but we didn't not cause it either. I'm totally with you on that. In fact, right now
Wink, wink.
yeah, I'm laying here crisscross applesauce style, making a pretzel of myself to get my chakras and my chi in line, and I'm gonna do one just for me right now. Banjo redooey, banjo redooey, banjo redooey. Boom! I've summoned it.
Me too, please. Oh God, I'll crisscross applesauce myself right now, please. I'm in my
Dude,
office chair, but I'll figure it out.
it's like when I first heard the banjo redooey name, I was just like, man, there's not a better name out there. Like, just
It is perfect. It really, really is perfect.
okay. So Max obviously coming to No Man's Sky. That's cool. I just really wanted to throw that in there because we summoned it. Something you can't summon even if you want to is the Cooking Mama Cookstar game. So there's like a whole saga that happened with this. I kind of want to break it down for you, JD. So
Please, I want to hear it.
game goes on the eShop. It's quickly pulled from the eShop. People can't get it. And then now you can only get like physical copies through a third party website that's like the actual direct publishers thing. And like no one knows why this Cooking Mama game actually got like pulled for real. But one of the funny things is that they were saying that it was mining Bitcoin and could brick your Switch. That's why they pulled it from the shop, which is incredible.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So that was the initial rumor that like it was up on the eShop for a whole like day and a half. People downloaded it. It happened. Like people got the game. And they were saying that, yeah, that's just one of the crazy rumors that I've heard. But for whatever reason now, hasn't returned to the eShop, and you can only get the new Cooking Mama game through the actual publisher's website.
This is like the equivalent of, you know, when you go to a restaurant in your town and it's a little seedy, it's a little rundown, and you just know in the back of your head that it's like a money laundering front for the cartel, right? But that's there, right? Like we have a breakfast burrito place in town that is straight up a money laundering thing for the cartel. The breakfast burritos are too good, so you keep going back, right? This is the digital video game equivalent of that, where you have Cooking Mama Cookstar. It's the restaurant, but in the background, if it's truly mining Bitcoin, some IRL gangster is just getting rich off of a digital money laundering scheme. We are living in the absolute worst timeline, aren't we?
Well, well, yes, that's the truth. But the best part of this is just like Cooking Mama being the sleeper cell, mine the Bitcoin game. That's the one where I'm just like, man, this could not have got better, because like Cooking Mama's so just like, oh yeah, hello, recipe.
That's it.
Oh yeah, and then just boom.
That's why, dude. No one would ever suspect it, right? No one would ever see this coming. God, I wonder if anyone's mined Animal Crossing's code to see if it's mining Bitcoin in the background too. That would have been oh God, they'd be so rich already. Oh my God.
They're just mining all your time. That's what they're mining.
That's true. Speaking of another way they're going to mine our time, today, as we record, there is a fishing tournament going on in Animal Crossing. So it's today, Saturday the 11th, one day only, goes till 6 p.m. CJ is in the plaza. He's got a little tent and a cooler set up, and the premise is super simple, right? It's as many fish as you can catch in 3 minutes. Obviously, the more exotic, rare, big fish you can catch, the more points you get. And then you get points that you can trade in for prizes that CJ has. That's pretty select items that only he is giving out as part of this competition, I believe. So it's kind of a limited time, exclusive prizes type deal. I wish it was a little longer, but I get that they wouldn't go into tomorrow since tomorrow's Bunny Day in game. So I kind of wish they would have put this back a weekend and done it like as a weekend long thing.
Dropped it Friday night or something.
Yeah, it's weird that it's like just today and it's only till 6 p.m., which is also a little odd. Like most things on the real world clock, you know, go till like 9 for Able Sisters or 10 for Nook's Cranny, right? Or even the like when CJ comes to your island normally, he's on the island till like 5 a.m. Like he's there till the daily reset. So it's just weird that this is not only ending so early, but it's only like one day. I don't know. It's still cool. And let me, you know, flip side of all this is keep doing this stuff, Nintendo, because that's awesome that there's little things that are different in the game that you're doing. And like, I love that. I love that this game has been out for less than a month and there's already like rotating events that we're getting in and out and in and out. It's phenomenal. Keep doing that. Just, you know, my little 2 cents on this whole one day thing.
No, I love it. And something that Nintendo should keep doing, making glitches in games, because there is a glitch that was discovered in Mario 64 that was just one line of code that some guy found. So I guess gamers just keep mining games for like content, because we're just going to keep finding just weird crap in them. So I guess the entire time that we've played Mario 64, the smoke has been glitched out. And I didn't know that that was a glitch. I just thought that it was just singed butt of Mario. I thought that that's what singed Italian plumber butt looked like.
It's just roasted Italian ass.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought it looked like. But there is a line of code that has been fixed now, and you can fully see the clouds that they were supposed to be. And it's not all cross-stitched like black pixels, and that's what it was originally. And now there's full smoke clouds that you can see online. So if you want to check that out, I just think that's really cool that some guy was just like, oh, hey, I just fixed this T and made it an L, and then it's all fixed and all good.
I don't know, man. I've seen both, and I really like the way that it's been glitched for the last 24 years, and I kind of don't like the quote-unquote correct version of it. Like, I don't know. To me, it just looks a little out of place. And that's not to say the original glitched version that we've had for the last 20 years looks any better, because it looks terrible, but like that terribleness was always... I don't know. I kind of liked it. Anyway, Kotaku has the story on that one. So if you wanted to check it out, it's just Mario 64 glitchy smoke. Kind of a weird one.
Super, super weird one. Now, we have another story. It's about Sony. JD, drop it on us.
It's a cool move for us. It's probably hard for Sony, but it's ultimately going to pay dividends. Just like I said with Phil Spencer being really upfront about Xbox Series X delays and scarcity and the availability, Sony is issuing refunds for games that are delayed automatically, right? You didn't have to request it. You didn't have to fight with the customer service representative or anything like that. They're just taking it upon themselves to start kicking those refunds back to people on their PS accounts. And that is amazing. I am a huge fan of this proactive move. I really like that they're taking care of people first, and ultimately, like, of course they are, because there's no game for me to buy, and like it's delayed and it's no longer what was promised. It's probably the legal right thing to do as well, but ultimately I think it's just a good moral thing to do for Sony to say, hey, look, you were going to get this game in a month or two, and now you're not, so here's your money back. And if it's something you still want when we put a new date on it, like obviously you can rebuy it then, right? But in
Yeah.
these times where money is tight and it's, people are trying to be really reserved with their spending, I think it's cool for them, even if it's, $60, $70, whatever, like, here you go. So I don't know, another nice feel good story from our big gaming companies that are out there.
No, yeah, and you're 100% right, man. It's just the company doing the right thing, and that's cool. That's good to hear that more companies are doing the right type of things in this situation that's unprecedented. So someone who's not doing the right thing is just all of China, and I'm not trying to make China an enemy of the pod right now, just in general. Uh, but there, as many things, as many industries or many different mediums, like the NBA had these Hong Kong protests. They have come to Animal Crossing, and so this is something, a story that kind of rolled out. So there were a few Hong Kong protests in Animal Crossing. There was a prominent writer who did one on his island and kind of put up the pattern on the floor, did some things, kind of put some pictures of some of the politicians, and did some other stuff, like to the what is it, the Freedom Now website or the Liberty Now website that they have for the Hong Kong movement. And then the game got banned. The game is just no longer available in China.
There's so much political stuff we can dive into on here, and I know we try to not get super political on the pod, but yeah, it's miserable that now this has been taken away. It's just like another form of free speech being stifled. It's another form of entertainment that's being censored and cut off from everyone else there in Hong Kong. And yeah, it's awful. I mean, we could
No,
go down a rabbit hole, and that's no good.
Yeah, there's a lot happening here. So I did want to bring it up because this is important, because games matter in the
It
world.
is.
And
It is.
I think, because like there's two minds for it. Because like, yes, we here in America, we believe in free speech, and we of course want them to be able to say what they want to say. And their government or their country has different ideals than ours, and so they kind of maybe deflect a lot of that stuff. But the other thing that kind of sucks is for the other gamers that didn't want any part of this, they can't play the game now. And there's both
Yeah.
sides. So it really sucks. And I know that I'm not going to be 100% right on this issue or all of this in
Sure.
any way, shape, or
We could
form.
never. Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, it just like, that really sucks that maybe who knows what the numbers was. It 7 people? Was it 70 people that were holding these Hong Kong protests in their game? But then now no one can play Animal Crossing. That sucks for them. And on the business side of things, that sucks for Nintendo too, because that's a whole market that could have been buying the game, buying Switches and things like that. But then there's the people part of this that's, I think, to me, way more important, that they need to be able to say what they need to and get their message out there.
No, I agree. I feel like it definitely, it's hard to look at it through all these different lenses that are available. And certainly I think you and I probably focus more on the people side a lot, where it's like, it was important for these people who want to play the game. It was important for the people who wanted to speak their mind in the game. And so it's terrible now that nobody has the option to do that. It's really, really, truly terrible. So
yeah, sometimes game pitch has got to get real. This is very terrible.
Sometimes, we gotta talk about the real world issues. So not quite as real world. Going into my last story that I picked this week. So we saw Chucklefish, who's the publisher for Stardew Valley, right, revealed a new game called Witchbrook, which is this sort of magic world where you are a witch and you're a witch in training, right? And so you're trying to graduate, and so you have to like make friends with students and learn magical abilities and stuff and blah blah blah, right? Sounds great. Chucklefish, again, they published Stardew Valley, which was developed by Concerned Ape. They
Mhm.
are billing this new game called Witchbrook as Stardew Valley meets Harry Potter, which is kind of terrible, right? Like, to take one of the games that you've done that you've published, that
Mm.
Chucklefish, like, or that Concerned Ape made, as this single dev who just poured so much time into this game, like it's his like love and passion, right? And then Chucklefish is like, hey, we're basically taking so much of that core concept, but we're making it about witches, so it's different. And then, like, it's the same publisher. Like, it just feels really crappy. Like, as
Okay.
even if I was excited about this, where it's like, I love Stardew, I love Harry Potter, like a mashup sounds great. Mechanically, it sounds great. It just also feels really crappy that they're doing this to Concerned Ape. It's his hard work that they're just sort of going on top of, I feel like. I don't know. How do you feel about this?
No, yeah, and that wasn't a take that I had considered. I was gonna say that, man, what a brilliant marketing message because it's gonna sell a ton of copies, and that's where I start. It's just like if someone says to you when you're doing an elevator pitch for a game or you're boiling it down to something, that's gonna sell copies. Harry Potter meets Stardew Valley. That's just going to
Yeah.
move. That's going to move people to throw their cash at
Yeah.
it. But you're right. I hadn't considered that, and that actually does really suck because that's someone in their own house, and then they're just like, "Oh man, I really like your style," and then like buying their entire outfit and then just walking outside and then just putting a witch hat on it. That's kind of
Yeah.
shitty.
And it's like, I've seen some of the art. The art style is similar, but a little different, right? Enough where you could say it's a different game. And obviously, we don't know anything about the core gameplay mechanics except for what they've said. And like, one of the things they've said is participate in extracurricular activities such as fishing, growing magical crops, and foraging strange mushrooms. The literal core of the gameplay of Stardew Valley. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Ugh, I don't know. I could talk about this all on its own pod, I feel like. I'll
Well, you know
say
what? Let's just on the fly. Let's just hand out a red card right here. Bad
yeah,
job,
it is.
Chucklefish. Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, this is lame, right? Like, I like Concerned Ape a ton. I think what he's done with Stardew is amazing, and like continues to do with Stardew, like constantly putting out patches, constantly like engaging with players on social media. Like, he literally just did a poll that's like, hey, I think I'm going to add a new fruit into Stardew. Like, what kind of fruit should I add? And did like an impromptu Twitter poll, right? And is now coding a new fruit into the game. Like, that's exactly what you want out of a good game developer. And then for the publisher that was supporting you to go and do this, just feels so crappy. So yeah, kind of a on the fly red card to Chucklefish. Like, come on, like, this is terrible.
Yeah. All right. So our last news story today in our fastballs, in a surprise to no one, game usage is up month over month about 40% in a report from Nielsen. The thing I kind of want to talk to you about is like seeing people that are not gamers like posting stuff about gaming on like Twitter, and not to say like, oh, we're the gamers, you have to get into our exclusive club, like not that, but it's just like there was like this post that I saw, just like some, I can't even remember where it was. It was like some like person sharing an IG model's like post, and it was like they were like laying on a couch that had like a TV behind it, and they were like straining their neck to like look at the TV to play Mario Kart with like a coach bag with like goldfish in it, and I was just like, just lazy Sunday gaming. And I was like, this is the worst. Like there's like, or like NBA players being like, oh man, what's video games? And then like they're just like, oh, check this out. I was like, but like it's really cool to see like the takes come in, like people who have never played Last of Us or people who never tried Doom. And of course, if you don't follow Ice-T on the on Twitter, he's an excellent follow for the gamers because he's just like he'll like put in all caps like gamer shit, and he'll be like, oh, playing this Doom boss, it's so hard. Like he's so, like there's just so many people that you wouldn't necessarily be like, oh yeah, they're for the gamers, that are really just diving into either streaming or playing games or like checking out the Switch. Like Animal Crossing's cleaning up right now, man. Like
Oh
it's
my gosh.
crazy.
Yeah, Animal Crossing alone, I feel like, is capturing so much of that non-gamer audience and converting, not to say they'll be gamers once all this blows over, right? But like, certainly I think there will be some people that enjoy their time in quarantine playing games, that it becomes a little bit more of their daily routine than it had been.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. There are so many people who weren't like traditional gamers all the time that are posting just stupid screenshots, right? And then I think there's the other half of it too, where I'm a huge soccer fan, right? Like, I'm a massive soccer fan. If the theme of the pod hasn't tipped it yet, then now you might start to understand it a little bit better, right? But I love soccer. And so a bunch of professional players, right, like on their downtime, typically just play FIFA, right? And they'll just kind of shit post about FIFA on Twitter and like roast
Mhm.
each other. And now that they can't play soccer, right, now that they're all sort of quarantined, they've been doing charity streams, playing FIFA on like Twitch and on like Mixer and stuff. And so like there's the other half of it where it's like, yeah, sure, you get these people who aren't really gamers and they're playing games and that's cool. And then you get these other people who are very casual who are now like ratcheting it up like a lot of levels. So and it's cool to see. It's cool to see these professional players who are like, hey, we're going to do this charity FIFA stream tomorrow. And I'm just going to play FIFA for like 12 hours. Cause like, what else can I do? And then it's just like this professional soccer player who's just getting shit on by like some 12-year-old probably, but like raising money for like the National Health Service in the UK, right? Or like hospitals in Spain. Like it's just really, really cool.
I didn't know any of that was happening because it's so funny because like you're probably following a ton of people on soccer Twitter and I'm following a ton of people on basketball Twitter. So like we're getting just an amalgam of all these like sports players who are just like really diving in for the first time, and it's been a wild fun ride. Like everyone, it's cool that people are discovering our favorite medium. I really like that.
Me too. Only good can come from having a diversified audience playing games, in my opinion.
I
So,
think as Xbox would say, when more people play, everybody wins. Sponsor the podcast, Phil. Just do
yeah,
it.
I was about to say this podcast not sponsored by Xbox or any of its affiliates.
Well, actually, let's move to the scouting report where we're going to dive deep into the recent Inside Xbox that aired on April 7th.
Not sponsored, but we're gonna keep talking about it anyway for free.
All right. So,
Uh,
if you're not familiar with Inside Xbox, it is essentially the Nintendo Direct or the Sony, whatever they call their thing. It's a small, bite-sized update on what's coming to the platform game-wise. So, JD, anything that jumps out to you that you really wanted to talk about specifically, or should we just kind of bounce around in the stories?
yeah, I mean, let's, one thing that I think I play games on a lot of platforms, and one that I've really enjoyed playing on because of Apple Arcade is iOS.
Hmm.
And so they announced Forza Street is coming to iOS next month, right? On like May 5th.
Which is, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not a Forza guy, but yeah, woo.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not going to say like, oh, I'm stoked. Like I'm all about it. Like, but it's cool to see these big first party Xbox games. This feels like a little bit of testing the relationship a little bit more with like
Mm.
Apple, for example, and with Google to get these first party games out there. And I look at that more as a what could come from this, right? Like if this game does well, and obviously they're doing Project X Cloud, and getting that prepped for Android and iOS, and I think that kind of keeps stuff in Xbox's ecosystem proper, even though it's on other hardware. It feels more like getting something like Forza Street on iOS is going to be distributed through App Store, right? It won't be necessarily in xCloud. And so
Mhm.
I think that it's going to start to reveal a little bit more about this relationship. So,
So, so I think my favorite piece or the highlight thing from this Inside Xbox from April 7th was Gears Tactics. I had partially forgot that it existed. I too love tactics games, and three, I recently beat Gears 5, so I actually
nice.
care now about the story. It was weird that I got suddenly hype to figure out what it was, and this is the first time they've really kind of dived into the gameplay. So in your Valkyria Chronicles and XCOM style, it is a tactics game where you
Yeah.
control a squad. The really cool thing about this one, though, is that like there's ways to rescue the gears from being like grabbed by the locust, but the most interesting thing is you earn extra turn actions by executing enemies. So curb stomping and chainsawing people in half earns not just you but the whole squad additional movements, and that they said that like that really keeps the pace going. So this seems like they're bringing FPS speed to a tactics game, which really like just makes me hype.
Yeah, actually, I'm with you. I really love, I really, really like tactics games too.
Mhm.
And you explicitly called out XCOM, and XCOM's so good. And I'm really excited to pick it up on the Switch, like we talked about last week. Anyway, so I am super excited for Gears Tactics. I remember when they talked about this, it was like last E3, right? Like,
Mhm.
and it
I
was
forgot it
very like,
exists. Yeah.
They were well, that's because they announced it at the same time as Gears Pop, and everyone was like, "Oh, come the hell on," right? And they were like, "Also, Gears Tactics," and everyone was still booing. They were just like, "Beep." Like, so it was kind of lost a little bit, right? And so now they're like talking a little bit more about it. And like, oh, cool. Like, this actually does sound like a lot of fun. Plus, if it's coming to Game Pass, like, I'm stoked because I have Game Pass. I think I've prepaid Game Pass for like the next 3 years. So
Oh
like,
wow. Okay, cool.
so I'm like really excited if it launches there. Like I'll be super. Yeah, and it says PC Games Pass. It's going to be at launch. So I'm obviously going to get it and play it because that sounds super exciting. One thing that wasn't as exciting, and I'm sure that you and I will have the same take on this, is they didn't talk a lot about new games for the Series X. They didn't really talk details of the console, except for
Mhm.
one thing. They did mention that you can store games on external hard drives,
Mhm.
but you have to move the game to the internal memory or the official Seagate expansion drive in order to play them on the Series X, right? So you can download them and put them on a drive, but they don't do you any good unless you have the space to move them to one of these other two things. What the hell?
Yeah, that's a red card. That's a they earned that. Hold that real quick.
Oh, it's just
Bad.
like
Real bad.
it's yeah, I don't like it. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that. I get it, I guess, on some level for keeping the performance level there.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
external storage only has so much throughput, blah blah blah, right? But like USB-C, these new specs of speed of USB-C can transfer data so wildly fast that it seems like if it was a compatible USB C external drive, like it should be good, right? Like I
You
just don't understand.
think,
Like I
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like a weird detail that I'm excited. When new hardware comes out, there's always places like iFixit and Anon Tech that break it apart and like really
Mhm.
run it through the ringer. So I'll be really excited to see them test this whole external memory thing and see if it truly is a limitation of the hardware or if it's a limitation put in by Seagate to sell more of the official
Yeah,
expansion drive.
that might be part of the deal. I bet that's you're right. I bet that's
Yeah.
in the contract that they have to have it that way. So just a few final quick things from that Inside Xbox. xCloud is coming to new territories. We knew that program was going to expand. I know you're a fan of it. Minecraft Dungeons will release on May 26th. And then the final thing, and I just can't muster any hype for this Grounded game. And Obsidian is a good developer, but I just can't, like, every time I see this game, it just doesn't click for me. It doesn't make sense. It looks like the Bugs Life game from PS like one was like upresed a bit and then like made by like one of those, like back in the day. What was it, like a Newgrounds game? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't fathom that a developer with the pedigree of Obsidian is making this Grounded game. Maybe I'm ignorant and I need to look into it more. But it just I don't know, man.
Oh, well, it'll be on Game Preview on July 28th. Right in the dead middle of summer, we'll get a lot more information on it. And so I'll be excited to see kind of what they do. I've seen some screenshots and it looks, I guess I'm excited because it does look different than a lot of stuff we've seen, right? And I think that's exciting and I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll just kind of have to keep our eyes open and see what comes from that game. So,
I'm a
um,
hard out on that. I don't like the design. I don't like the aesthetic.
okay. Well, then there's no I don't think there's anything they could show that will make you excited about it, huh?
I'll try to be optimistic.
I believe in you. One thing I'm not sure any amount of optimism will fix is PlayStation this week showed off the new PS5 DualSense controller. This thing looks weird.
Speaking of design and aesthetic, my friend, what the hell? Well, wait, real quick. I just
I
want to see. Did you see how petty this whole thing was? It was like the Inside Xbox came out, and then Sony did their controller reveal, and then they talked about like this button that we'll talk about later, and then Xbox just on Twitter just like put up a video of like zooming into the controller and then like into this new button that's probably going to be the same button that Sony has. Like just like it was super petty, and I was like, yes, it's what I strive for in life. Like they were just like, we have that too, bitch.
I love when brands are like subtly going at each other, right? Like there's two ways to do it. There's this Xbox, Sony back and forth teasing, like not explicitly calling each other out as a corporate account. And then you have the presidents and the CEOs who will like they'll thank each other and like tell each other good luck or like great job on a launch, right? Like you'll see Phil Spencer tweeting at people at PlayStation all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that approach. And then there's the Wendy's Twitter approach where they're just out there roasting everyone so publicly. I'm a big fan of that brand Twitter breakdown. But moving back, I'm not really a fan of this PlayStation 5 controller. I don't like the way it looks. Don't like the dual light bars. I don't like the big touchpad in the middle. No one used it on the PlayStation 4. The DualShock 4 touchpad has gone unused for like 5 years. Why would you bring it back and then also make it bigger?
Okay, so I put this on my Twitter. It's like basically like the bottom of it looks like Totoro, like Totoro's wearing a robot hat, and I can't unsee it. And every time I see that controller, I was like, oh look, it's Totoro with his little eerie things in his eyes, with wearing a little robo hat. So that's all I see. I guess I don't know, man. It's like they tried to copy the Xbox controller a bit, it would seem, and not in the way that we want, which is by offsetting the sticks.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, geez, that would open up the absolute gates of hell to say that it's the best way to make the controller, but also it's the best way to make the controllers to have offset sticks.
Yeah,
like
and we just lost 2 subscribers just right there.
Oh God, no. No one listens to this anyway, so we'll be okay.
Oh
no. So I mean, credit where it's due, right? The haptic feedback system sounds pretty cool. The triggers are adaptive, and so that feels like it'll be kind of like what Microsoft's been talking about for the new Series X controller, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't these things that other people are already doing that they're kind of?
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm gonna give him credit for doing them at least. Like,
Okay.
I'm not gonna say like, hey, thanks for doing this, but also Microsoft did it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like Simpsons did it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I got you.
And now that being said, right, like they put microphones into the controller, which is very odd. Like, I don't know of many instances where people are playing with their friends where they wouldn't have like a headset on, and they're like,
Yeah.
like the microphones would have to be perfectly angled and extremely sensitive, but also very good at drowning out noise that the controller itself would make for those to be useful at all, right? Like, can you imagine
Yeah.
like me and you are playing like a shooting game on PlayStation 5, right? And all I have is your voice is now going to be coming through the TV, which never sounds great. And then I'm going to be talking through my controller where all you're going to hear is like these click clacks. Like, it's just going to be like, Eli, no, you gotta go let it. Eli, go, right? Like, it's just not going to be it's going to sound terrible.
Well, the controller also has the speaker to play sounds too. So there might be a world where your voice is coming in and out of the controller. And then like you said, like just people's voices coming out of the TV is just terrible just in general. Cause like, how am I going to tell boner guy 6969 to not say profanity when my mom walks by? You know what I mean?
It's like, you can always have, right, the one guy who's just like blaring rap music in the background, who's just like, hey, you man, fuck you. And then like you have the one kid who's just in the background, like, I'm going to move away from my mic a little, who's just like just like screaming, right? Like, so, and then there's you that's like, someone capture B, and then like now it's gonna be like, someone capture B. Like,
all right, so I guess, wow, this might be a banner episode. It sounds like we're handing out another red card to Sony for just the bad.
I don't know if I want to give him a red card.
Okay.
I don't know if we have to go that far yet.
Okay, so you're right. I need to reel it back. We need to hold it in our hands first to see if it actually feels good, or if it
exactly
just, yeah, right now it looks not great. And then there's all this mystique around this create button that's going to make it easier to, I guess, probably to stream or to Twitter or who I'm out on any of the consoles just being like, hey, make it easy to be social, guys, talk about us.
Exactly. Talk about our brand on social media, advertise for us for free, right? Like, I share button on the DualShock 4. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm really glad that I could post this platinum trophy of me getting this platinum trophy on Facebook, so everyone can be like, what a loser you are. Thanks a lot, Sony. That was very useful for me. And now I'll be able to share even more ways with this create button where I can stream myself being shit at games. I don't want to give him a red card. I really don't.
We won't give him a red card, but we're
giving him a yellow, right?
Okay.
And we might potentially give him another yellow, and then it turns into a red. We'll see what happens when it comes out.
All right. So, last story on the scouting report before we get to this week's game pitch is all about IGN. We talked about them last week, and they've basically been doing this. You would have assumed March Madness style tournament if March Madness was happening, but they've been doing it with all the best video game characters of all time. And the final four was Mario versus Doom Guy, Link versus Master Chief. Now, this is I would not have guessed that Doom Guy would have got into
Same.
this top four spot, but I think his
Right.
game coming out around this time, and he is. I mean, it's interesting. We have two platformers and two FPSs, and I would say that those are the two most popular genres, or at least there's probably the most games within
Yeah.
platformers
Agreed.
and FPS.
Agreed.
So it makes sense that this four is here.
I'm just on the same page as you, right? I'm shocked Doom Guy is in this top four. I absolutely agree that I think the launch of Doom Eternal has greatly propelled the rank there. But I mean, like in that mashup, Mario versus Doom Guy, like it's a very, very clear winner, right? Like
Yeah, and
Mario
so these
easily wins.
Yeah, and these four have actually completed. So I have the results. Mario did beat Doom Guy, and when I first voted for Master Chief, which I did, I voted for
Oh,
Master Chief on multiple platforms
interesting.
because yeah, they were doing their voting across a lot of different things. So it was Instagram, Twitter, I think YouTube.
Twitter.
There's a
Yep.
lot of different places. And when I initially voted for Master Chief, he was winning, and he was winning pretty handily. But Link ended up winning this matchup. Now I think that's
Huh.
correct. Link has
Agreed.
more games. He's more of an icon in gaming, but to me, I would have liked to see Master Chief versus Mario just for the fun of the internet and for Xbox and maybe Nintendo to go at each other on the internet for a bit. But it does make sense. Link and Mario are video games; they just are.
Yeah. I am not shocked Link won. I absolutely agree that he's a much more iconic character. And I think this touches on when we talked about our gaming Mount Rushmores, right? We have to look at this through two lenses. There's the very personal lens, in which case I actually would pick Master Chief for myself. I just think from a growing up and playing Halo and the relationships I've built and all that stuff through Halo, like Chief has to take it. And that's not against Link. That's not against any of the Zelda titles, which God knows that I've invested a lot of time in and a lot of energy and truly love that franchise.
Mhm.
But personal, I would take Chief. Influential though, it had to be two Nintendo characters. It
Yeah.
had to be.
It has to. So I think the thing that you made me realize just then is that Mario and Link define a different time of my life than Master
Absolutely.
Chief. And having, because I would have done the same thing, I would have gone Mario and Master Chief. And because Link and Mario, they effectively are the same era to me. They define the same
Yep.
parts of my life.
Right.
So the final was Link v Mario. And when I saw Mario was winning, as he should be, because
Agreed.
it's Mario, it's
He
freaking
is.
Mario.
Yeah. He's Nintendo's poster child, right? Like
Yeah.
you think Pokemon, you think Pikachu, you think Nintendo, you think Mario. I mean, that's you want to distill it, that's it right there. Yeah, and you're right. That's a good point is that these Nintendo characters really did represent like my early love of gaming. Like they represented me as a kid in front of my NES or my SNES like truly exploring these game worlds for the very, very first time and really just like starting this lifelong love of exploring worlds and connecting with these characters and now that's transitioned even more into making these friendships with people all over the world, right? And cementing friendships that I've had in real life and like so yeah, I mean it's very different, right? Like if you look at it in that lens, certainly Nintendo had to be Nintendo. If I think where did it begin, it began in Mario, right? That
Mhm.
is where it all started. If I think of it now, like I absolutely think like yeah, like some of my favorite moments in games are when I can play with friends, and a lot of the times that is in shooter worlds and RPG worlds, right? And I think a lot of that's influenced more on modern titles. So with the exception, right? Animal Crossing is very much a Nintendo, and then that's where I'm spending a lot of my digital and real life time. So
No, I love it. So what I wanted to do because this IGN's I mean getting a ton of traffic because of this tournament and it spawned a lot of different things. One of my favorite Twitter games that I saw was they'll put up 9 images and you can only pick three. So I just wanted to do that real quick with the final four here. So let's both do Mario and let's keep it to like Mario platformer games and not like the spin-offs like Color Splash or Mario RPG. So first, if you could only do three Mario games platformers, which would you pick, JD?
so then Mario 64 has to be one of them.
Yep.
Yeah, so I can't pick Paper Mario then? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's just keep it to like Mainline Mario.
Well, then I'm gonna pick the original Super Mario Brothers as
Okay.
well, right? Because that's where it all started.
Yep.
Mario 64, and then oh man, that's tough. I think I'll go. Ooh, I don't know where I'd put my third one.
Okay, well, I am going to go Super Mario World, Mario 64, and Mario Galaxy 2.
Mario Galaxy. That's a good choice. Yeah. Oh,
2.
that's a good one.
I'm saying Mario Galaxy 2, not 1.
Yeah. No. That's good. I don't. I don't know if I agree. I think the first one's better. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I know.
no,
See,
no,
exactly. Yeah.
no. I can't do it.
Okay, cool. Then we'll move on to Link games, and we'll do the same thing. So, like, no Hyrule Warriors or no Link's crossbow training, just mainline Link
All right.
games.
You got to go first this time because I
Okay,
went first last time.
I'll do Legend of Zelda DX Game Boy Color. I will do Twilight Princess, and I will do Ocarina.
Oh, not Breath of the Wild. I thought that was your absolute favorite.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, if you've listened to the podcast, you just know.
Breath of the Wild is absolutely in my top 3. I think I do Ocarina of Time, and I want to do Link's Awakening. Which then I guess obviously it's the original, right? Like I won't
Yeah.
take the remake that they just did, even though I love the art style of the remake. It'll be the original.
Yeah, gotcha. And then the last one, just because Master Chief and Doom Guy are both first-person shooter people, let's just do like 3 FPSs. So I think it's Halo. Yeah, I'm gonna do Halo 2. Is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say Halo 2. I'm gonna say Time Splitters, and then I'm gonna say Battlefield 2042.
Oh man, Time Splitters. So much time as a kid put into that game. What a fantastic choice. That is a phenomenal pick.
Yeah.
I pick Halo Reach. Halo Reach is
choice.
one of my absolute favorites. You know, we talked about this last week, but I put Destiny up there because I've put so much time into Destiny. And last FPS. Let's see. Where would I put my last FPS amount of time? Man, you really just like brought back a flood of memories with Time Splitters.
Time Splitters 2 is one of the best games ever. That
my God.
the Dino Dance, and like the freaking the what is it, the suitcase that's like a machine gun. Yeah, everything about that Time Splitters is perfect. I can't believe the franchise is still dormant. It's ridiculous to me.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so
one more FPS.
Destiny, Halo Reach, and I think I'm gonna go. You know, we talked a little bit about Borderlands last week. I'm gonna put Borderlands 2 up there. I'm gonna do it. I liked Borderlands 2. It was phenomenal. I played so much with so many people. I'm gonna put it up there.
So that moves us into the thing I've been waiting for all week, buddy. The pitch.
So this is your game pitch this week. As I said at the top of the pod, you have been absolutely hyped for this. I got to hear it. I want to hear it. I'm ready. Hit me.
All right, so I've been thinking a lot about escape rooms recently, not because we all need to escape our own homes, but just the idea, the puzzling, the nature of that. And I really love how games have been kind of opened recently, where you have cross-platform play, people playing on PlayStation or Xbox, and you can play Fortnite with each other on every, just the cross-play is a really interesting idea to me. And so what this game is it's essentially VR hide and seek. So one person has a VR setup, and they can move around a mansion seeking people. Now, the people that they are seeking can connect to this game from their PC, their mobile phone, anything that's basically like you just need to be able to move around an environment because you're going to hide inside the things in this kooky, crazy mansion, whether it's a painting in a piece of porcelain, in an actual cabinet. But the idea is that like it's this huge game of hide and seek. So maybe there's like 30 or 29 players that are hiding, and then one VR person who is seeking in this mansion. And here's the catch to this that makes it kind of cool, or what I think makes it unique, is that the hiders, they go to the thing that they want to hide and say it's a painting. And to get access to hide in that painting, they have to answer trivia. And it might be based on that artwork. It might be in the art field, but you actually have to speak out loud. So you're like on a headset and you're like talking, and you have to say out loud the answers to the trivia. And that is something that can help the VR person who's trying to find you hear you, because you actually have to
Ooh.
speak out loud the answer to the questions, kind of like a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, so let's say you go into this painting, and essentially, like, you can get better and better hiding places, or can get more protection based on answering more and more trivia questions. So like, you jump into a painting to hide, like, think of Mary Poppins when they're like on the porcelain thing, or you know what I mean, like when you kind of
Yeah.
jump into something, that kind of cartoon style. But basically, when you jump in, like, maybe you'll add a bush that can hide a part of your body by answering the second trivia question. You'll add decoys, or you'll add other things that hurt other players as you answer more and more trivia questions. There's like these like different, almost Mario Kart style power-ups that you earn to help you. And so the VR
Okay.
person can run around the environment, and they can like shake paintings, they can bust up things. So it's essentially like they can like destroy the environment, but they're trying to find people. And you're trying to get better and better and better hiding spots that have more protection for you by answering more trivia questions. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. Oh, you can outfit yourself, the people who are hiding, in different like Fortnite style. What do you call it?
Oh, there's cosmetics.
Yeah, the cosmetics, exactly. So you can either be, you can either have some Seek Fleek and look poppin' as hell, or you can have some Seek Chic and look really like, if you're wearing something that's more valedictorian as your
Oh.
cosmetic, you will hide better in a valedictorian painting. Yeah, so I think that it'd be cool to have like a virtual hide and seek game that also is trivia based, and the game is called Hide and Speak.
Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that's good. I have, I like that a lot, and I have some questions.
Yes, sir.
So first, first, is everyone in VR? Is everyone
No,
wearing VR for this to
no,
hide? It's just
one
the
player.
seeker is in VR. Everyone
Yeah,
else is just playing keyboard mouse, right?
yeah, or on your Xbox or on your phone.
Okay. Um, if I get found, do I then also become a seeker? Like, so you'd think like when you're a kid playing hide and seek, you find someone and then
Mm.
your friend would then also start seeking with you.
Well, actually, you go to the gulag. A new idea. No, no, I hadn't thought about that in the Halo zombie sense, but yeah, I think, yeah, that would be
Yeah.
cool. That once you're found, you become a seeker as well. But
So
that'd be
then
hard
is it
because the seekers are the VR
exactly
people. Yeah, so then I guess
right?
you would not. You would not. You would not
So then
become a
you
seeker.
lose.
I think you
Okay.
lose. Maybe you could do things to help the VR person and get
Oh, maybe
additional
like
points to maybe come back. Yeah, like you're a
or
ghost.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is there maybe there's a mechanic to get you back into the game, right? Where like if you are like a ghost or something, right? Like
Mhm.
you float around and like maybe there's ways if you aid in the seeker finding someone else somehow, then like you could that would earn you a point to get, and if you get 3 points or whatever, you buy your way back in.
Mhm. I'm thinking
Okay.
like Knives Out, Scooby Doo style mansions, like the whole
Totally.
time. Just like,
Totally.
yeah, like just
Is
Clue.
the voice yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, no, for sure. That's where my head went for sure was like Clue meets yeah, yeah, totally. Is the voice proximity then, right? So like if
Mhm,
I'm in the kitchen, I can only hear people in the kitchen like so
mhm.
there's a level of randomness to hey, like if I'm trying to hide in the living room, like hopefully my dude is not in the living room hearing me. And to piggyback that, can I see the seeker as a hider?
Yes, I think you would have
Okay.
to see the seeker, and then the other thing is that, like, when you're walking around, like, trying to get to places in the mansion, it does, like, make noise too, or, like, if you move something to, because I wanted
Ah,
to add an escape room element where, like, you have to do this to do that to get into the secret passage, or to so that there's, like, a level of escape room to it, where if you move the candlestick over here, it's going to open this thing, and then you can hide in that thing. And then
that's good.
the seeker will know, like, hopefully, because they've played as a seeker or as a hunter, multiple times, they'll know some of the things that you might have to do. But it's one of those things where, like, the way that Fortnite's ever evolving the mansion and making different, like, that's one of the cool things with escape rooms. They can do themes, they can update, they can change. And so having an ever changing puzzle mansion, I think, would be really fun.
I like that. That's super cool. And then my last little thought is your cosmetics that you talked about right at the end.
Mhm.
They sound a little play and pay to win. Like if I'm buying this like chic outfit that helps me blend into certain environments, and you don't have that, it feels like I have an upper edge because I spent money on cosmetics. And
I see what you mean.
I don't know if you've read anything on the internet in the last like 3 to 4 years, but people do not like that.
So this is what I will say to that. So let's just like go with the painting example, just in general. Let's say the paintings are randomly generated, so there's no way to know if the cosmetic that you have is actually going to be in the inside the mansion. And maybe 1 out of 10 times it helps. I don't know. I don't
Okay,
know if that seems more fair.
so there is still like a pay to win mechanic almost. It just may not always pay off. But you're saying that you're okay with it if it's randomized like that. You're okay with that.
Maybe we don't charge for the cosmetics. Maybe they're just unlockable
Okay. Okay.
after
I love this.
playtime.
This sounds super fun. This sounds like a game that I would absolutely enjoy to play.
Yeah, like I said, I was just thinking a lot about escape rooms, and this is something I would play. So
Yeah.
usually sometimes we'll have like BS pitches or like things that we think
Oh,
could
this
be
is
games.
good.
And we're joking. I was like, oh man, I want this to exist because I would play it.
Yeah, no, this sounds super fun. I love the idea of one person being in VR and everybody else being in just keyboard mouse. Like, I like that idea. Though, yeah, I don't know. It sounds cool. This is a really, really good game pitch. This
Yeah,
is
there's
very well done.
definitely a lot of problems, definitely lots to work out, but I think it'd be fun.
Yeah,
Hide and
it's good.
speak.
Good proof of concept. I love it. Thank you. That's a good one this
Shannon,
week.
Jade, you know how to
Oh,
get in touch with us at
Epic Game
GamePitch
Store.
Podcast. Yeah, at GamePitch Podcast at Gmail. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Jade. Stadia team. Please greenlight us.
We're really looking forward to making this. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
All
last
right,
few
so
things. Yeah, let's rock out.
yeah,
Yeah, get us out of here, JD.
so let's talk. Yeah, we're gonna just we're gonna cruise through the last little bits we have. So first, we gave out an impromptu red card, but this one we had ready to roll, and it's not shocking, right? GameStop in Boston. The Boston authorities were forced to shut down local stores because GameStop would not comply with the shelter-in-place orders that basically made them not essential, which we all agree they're not essential. That had a domino effect that basically had all of the stores across the state close in turn. And GameStop, come on, what the hell? Like, you were doing yourselves no good on the PR front with this. People are not happy. Employees are not happy. Just stop it. Just stop.
Do you think Reggie wakes up in the morning and just like looks in the mirror with like 70 more gray hairs and is just like, what have I done?
Reggie was doing guest lectures at Cornell University. He was doing some online talks. He decided to take this GameStop job, and man, I don't know. I don't know. I think he just wanted a challenge, and I really, really hope he's okay. I really do.
Well, I'm not okay because there's a penalty that I have to give myself, JD. I screwed up when we initially mentioned that The Last of Us 2 was delayed. I said nothing about Iron Man VR being delayed because they were announced at the same time. They were both delayed, and I realized this when we were making the outline for this week, and I was just laughing at myself because I was like, "Yeah, I just blew over that game like it didn't exist," which I'm sure a lot of people will do because who plays VR, especially exclusively on Sony platforms.
That's true. Also, I like how you're like, who plays VR literally minutes after pitching a VR game?
Yeah, man. Got to stay on brand.
God, this is how we do it. This is how we do it here. Well, I think first off, sorry, Iron Man VR team. We appreciate you and all your hard work. And even though we will never play your game, we do appreciate that you're making it. And I think with that brings us to the end of the show.
It does. It does. There are some stories that did not get drafted that you can catch on, or what are we going to call it? Extra time, overtime, or something like that.
We're gonna make a name. We're gonna figure this out. They will be on our YouTube, which is one of the many ways you can connect with us. We are on Twitter and on Instagram at GamePitch Pod. I'm at J to the D, and Eli is at Mario RPGino. On YouTube, you can search for GamePitch Podcast, which soon will have a custom URL, but we're a little too hot and fresh for one of those yet. And finally, email us at gamepitchpodcast@gmail.com. Send us anything you want us to talk about, any reactions to stories that we've shared. You can argue with us. You can praise us. You can tell us that this podcast is changing your life. And yeah, we'll talk about it on the show. Eli, anything else?
No, just, hey, Be safe out there, guys. Enjoy some games. Play Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm sure everyone's going to do that. Keep upgrading your islands, and we'll talk to you next week.
We will see you next week, guys. Take care.